When you travel as much as I do, it's important to switch it up sometimes and see some different scenery. So I'm going a different way through the Cascade Mountains of Washington. That's Mount Rainier peeking out there, as well as some lovely waterfalls and some fall colors starting. And it's really great because I have a 5-hour drive to Spokane. But first, we saw a sign and we just had to stop. I am suddenly at an estate sale and, well, we're going to check it out and see what there is. This is in Thorpe, Washington, which is my usual midpoint stop, but generally for the antique mall that's by the freeway. I was not expecting an estate sale, so this is kind of exciting. Now there's a lot of dealers near here in that antique mall, but I get the feeling they haven't been out here because I see a lot of pretty good stuff. I really like the softness and cuteness and sweetness of vintage lingerie, but it's not really a good seller, and neither are little girls' dresses anymore. There just aren't the doll collectors for those sorts of things. So even though those are great prices, I think I'm going to leave them. This is an interesting stitching, but I think this is newer than it looks. The retro style of this space suggests that it's mid-century, but look at the bottom and we have a brand new label. Important to know that because if that label comes off, people could easily be fooled. Here's a very large candlewick piece. This screws into the candlestick holder so that you can make a big centerpiece tray out of your candelabra. This plate is royalty from the coronation in 1953, so it's over 70 years old and only $3 is a good price. This piece, oh, isn't this interesting? This was purchased, apparently, at the Old Curiosity Shop in England, but I don't think this is an English piece. It looks European. Ah, yes, and it says it's a 19th century French piece, and originally they wanted 21 pounds, which was some real money, actually. The Uncle Henry knife set is a great set, but $75 is pure retail price. Now, I mainly collect the 70s era Seattle Sounders stuff, but this guy was a great defender and a hero of mine. However, again, $20 is what these things cost new. This rocker dates back to about the 1880s with those Gothic arches, but it would have to be reupholstered. Nice little desk there. Desks have not really sold so well since the pandemic ended because everybody who needed one got one then. Ooh, here we go. I like these dancers. I'm not going to venture whether they're Navajo or Hopi without looking up that signature, but they are good. And I'm not so afraid of the prices on these because I know what the market is where I sell, and these do really rather well. So $15 and $20 each for these does not really dissuade me. I will put them together and see if we can get a bulk price.
Yeah, okay, there's a good sheen.
Yeah, I think so. Or they're Navajo dancers, and I'm not sure which yet. I need to look to see which is which on these.
Boy, this is quite a butter dish.
That is a nice butter dish. Looks like it's
Oh, you know what?
1890s.
This would be great for cheese boil.
Yeah, that would be. Little Fenton hobnail. Opalescent, think for that price. We should just put that right in our box. Mustache cups were to protect the mustache from getting stuff in it when you were drinking, whereas shaving mugs are a little different. They have a well to hold the brush and all that. That's from the 1890s. It was Great Father Horton's. This piece here is Lenox. It's an early cornucopia. The blue mark is before 1953, but $25. I mean, these are retail prices on a lot of this stuff. $11 on a souvenir mug. I mean, it's interesting because it's early Seattle, but you need to be selling it in Seattle, not way out in the country to get those prices. This mug was to commemorate the wedding of Charles and Diana. There is also a rather sad plate commemorating their divorce, and that is very collectible now. There are several pieces of RS Germany here. That was the successor company, one of the sons of Roland Schlegelmilch, who did RS Prussia. There's a lot of family pieces here, and so they left a lot of notes. And it's great in terms of knowing where the lineage in their family was for the piece, but the information is not always correct. They said that those were done in 1830s, and they didn't actually do that sort of copper luster at Davenport for about another 20 years. Around the turn of the last century, it became popular to paint on shelf fungus. We see pyrography and pen and ink in the 1970s on shelf fungus as well. This piece is bimetal, and it would appear Mexican, but it is actually made in Hong Kong. It's not the quality of the Mexican ware. The basket is also Mexican, and it's great that they put the tribe name and everything in there. We don't see as much interest in Mexican basketry as we do other Mexican items, but I think this one's kind of neat, and they do have the information about how they got it. Since the attribution is pretty clear and they took a trip and bought it, I feel comfortable relying on it, which means I can now study this and learn what their weave is. This piece, of course, is Papago from Arizona. A little strange that it has a half of a brown coil in the top. So in this case, the attribution is wrong, and the price is wrong. It's about 3 times what it should be. Either the mirror is gone, or that is the clearest piece of glass I've ever seen, but this is a nice 1870s chest of drawers. Again, this kind of furniture is not really easy to sell right now, and so it's really got to be priced right. This is a nice piece, though, with the black glaze. Nice, but very overpriced piece of English transferware from the mid-1800s. So this is definitely one of those sales where you can find some things, but you've got to dig and know what you're looking at. Well, we are going to roll on across the Columbia like the Arlo Guthrie song. I just got an Arlo Guthrie autograph lately. Beautiful place here, and then we are headed to Spokane, coming into our view. Well, I made it to Spokane, and while my job here is to do an estate sale, I could not miss the show. Even though I don't get to sell at it this time, it's a great show. I have been coming here for years. I want to let some of the dealers know that we're having an estate sale, and it's a great time to look around. And they're right, the fun really is in the find. It feels a little strange coming into this hall from the front door because I'm used to being a dealer and coming in through the back. And we are getting in line for tickets. This is the second day. Okay, so we got in, and here is our first display. And this is really cute. I like the globes. I like the red lantern. This definitely looks like the sort of thing we see in this part of the West. This is an interesting little Victorian bustle chair with no back because your bustle sat you up against the wall, priced at $130. Some neat printed blankets. These are definitely something people are collecting now. A lot of these were done in the 40s and 50s, and the colors and styles are fun. And obviously we see Afghans. That's a 70s thing, naturally. And in this part of the country, we usually see some Pendleton. Well, they brought out their Christmas, and boy, some of the prices are good. Only $1 for this ornament. That's certainly one I would expect to sell for a little more. Anything that's an interesting shape. Now, some of these are going to be older than others. This one, look at the eyes. This is one of probably Old World Christmas, which are actually reproductions of earlier Christmas ornaments. So not everything, especially if it's a figure, is going to be old. You're going to have to look at those to discern older from newer. This little horn, on the other hand, is an older one. It's priced at $12. That's a cute little blown glass piece. These are very fragile, of course, so that's part of the appeal. We don't see as many as we used to. Aw, look at the cute owl. Everybody's into owls now, and this particular one has the look of almost a K finch, but is it a K finch? I believe it is because, yeah, and they have it marked at $38.95 for K finch. K finch is definitely known for the inset eyes with the large panels and a lot of this little decorating, little lines and things. And oftentimes curlicues indicate K finch around the eyes. A very pretty Westmoreland opalescent, and you notice their hobnails. I like to talk about hobnails and how they differ. Very rounded compared to L.E. Smith's or Fenton's. Great color in the lavender opalescent, $28 on the compote and $18 each on the footed pieces. This dealer has a neat kitchen display here with a lot of the old Bauer gloss pastel and other companies' ringware and the McCoy with the pink band. But then she's also got Viking Owl fairy lamps, 3 of them in various colors. The bluish gray is a hard color to find. The ruby in the back is nice, and then their amberina, which is more amber but a little bit of orange at the tips. They're all priced in the $145 to $150 range. The jockey is a folk art piece made of wood around 1940, priced at $35. I don't think this is commercially made. There's no indication of it. I'm wishing for you a very happy time during 1926. And then drawing made easy for the kindergarten. I could have used some help in kindergarten with my drawing. Oh, I see, they have stencils. Well, that would make it easier. Saltillos, Arapes, Mexican throws of all sorts are pretty collectible now, especially when you get back into older colors and the ones that are made in silks or other soft fabrics like these. When the colors are a little softer as opposed to this, that gives you an indication of older age. And the prices are good, 25 each or 2 for 40. Oh, and we have a sale. The cactus cookie jar, which I believe is by Monmouth, is going with that young lady there. Oh, I have to look at this little piece. I've always been fond of pickled bamboo. And this one has a nice shape on the back. A little bit of splitting here as often is the case, but is it sturdy? Well, somewhat. That can be a problem with those. It's only $75. If you wanted to do some gluing and making it stronger, it would be worth getting. I also really like the shape of this little piece. They've repainted it. It's $85. Big old punch bowl. We are getting into the season where if someone does use punch bowls, this would be it. A whole bunch of briar horses. Now this looks like Kurok. They didn't just make trays. Let's see if this is one of theirs or if it's someone else. It's awfully lightweight. I think it might be Japanese lacquer, and sure enough, it is. Handcrafted, $17 for the set. It looks like they were scarcely used. There's a scenic shade for you, and I love the burl on the bottom of that lamp. Somebody had a lot of fun putting that together. One little burn spot in it, unfortunately, maybe a couple from a hot bulb, and that's why it's only priced at $65. If it wasn't for those imperfections, that would be a steal at that price. It'd be easy to fix the little bit of the cord up here. You just get leather cord from one of those places like Joann Fabrics or that sort of thing, and you restring it. Yeah, it's a little too as is, but boy, that's a neat piece for the price. This fella's been a dealer here a long time, and he gets a lot of fun stuff. And this time he has a lot of jewelry, which I'm not used to seeing in his space, so we're going to look and see if there's any interesting old pieces. This chunky bracelet is $15. This says it's as is at $20, but as is can be fixed a lot of times. I think that's an old... Well, the back looks like a Judy Lee piece, but I think it's a little better quality. I'm not sure who made those. This little piece here is marked at 10, and it has a lovely dangle, which is a little pressed plastic to look like coral, but it's missing just a little bit, unfortunately. This odd flask is from about 1900, and it is to look like tree bark. Very odd piece made in Europe at the time. Interesting little still bank here. He looks like he might have been dug. He's had a little bit of corrosion. Whoops, and I have the price tag stuck to me, so let me put that back on there. This seems contemporary, but by whom? No obvious clues there. In the 60s and 70s, you start seeing these labels applied to the Alaskan grass basket.
No, she ran, but I mean...
It was part of a guild that was selling these, and they do typically sell between about 45 and 65. Now this is cool. He's got a lot of minerals, but this is a piece of petrified tree, it says, and look at all of the aggregate in that. This is interesting because they have pointed the state of Idaho, painted the state of Idaho on it.
I have a job when I want to have a job.
This is cute because it's in the original box.
I just travel the
I think
country.
we'll see if we can do a little better.
Sell and stuff.
Yeah.
This is Now and Then collectibles, and wow, they have some really fun stuff and a lot of color. I like that they've color themed a lot of things, and look at all the Disney back there. We're going to go in the main hall. I have a combination of things to do here. I need to shop a little, I need to tell dealers about my estate sale coming up, and I need to, get on and work on the estate sale. But these folks who have an antique bracelet and estate sale service have something really incredibly beautiful right here. Look at this beautiful cranberry container. This is from about 1900. It's got a triple beveling. My first guess would be possibly Mosier.
Very painful.
Love the Riggery. That's priced at $325. Just gorgeous. This is a beautiful apricot color that you don't see very often. This is a Palma Company, a acanthus leaf pattern lamp from, again, about 1900, 1910. They have that priced at $300. And to the left they have this piece here, the mini lamp with the apricot opalescent. Very hard to find. They have it priced at $350. There's a little article in here about it, showing pink opaline mini lamp. and it says Fenton glass.
Came back. Good.
And look at the beautiful art glass in this case. This is cube gloss, this very highly iridized piece in the middle here with the coloration. We do not see very much cube gloss at all. It was not even common when it was new, which was 100 and some years ago. The shelves in the back are Mosier, and the cranberry and the green, and then there's all these really highly decorated bohemian pieces.
Well, you know,
The Mosier piece laying on its side here, the tumbler. It is priced at $120. Just beautiful pieces here that we don't see very much anymore. Some Favril.
longer.
Beautiful enameled spoon sets too. Sets of 6 in the $225 to $300 range. These are all Austrian and Central Europe, done around the early part of the 20th century. Just beautiful colors. And then 3, I believe, Russian yellow cigarette boxes in sterling. They have just incredible, beautiful stuff here. The fact that you would have this many of these kind of pieces that you just sort of lump them in the case in a pile tells me that they have a lot of good merch. Well, this dealer has a really interesting specialty. They are all Alaskan, early 1900s, mostly 19 teens and 20s scenes, and they are really interesting. And they have other parts of the area like the Flathead Reservation as well. But this one is 1917. It shows the Tracy arm of the Sawyer Glacier. It's priced at about $225 now. This is Taku Glacier.
5 years.
And this was done by Andrews out of Douglas, Alaska. A lot of these are Andrews, actually, who is pretty well known. Kaiser is another well-known studio artist, and the artists have as much to do with the value in some cases as the scenes. This is Anchorage at sunset in about 1920.
So they can.
And then we have the Midnight Sun. If you were a dealer in Alaska, you could probably make pretty good money buying these for resale. We've got a pair there. It's just the issue of where do you sell. I love this with the sled dog. This one's going to be under $45 with the discount. What a neat and interesting scene. So many tourists in Alaska buy Alaskan items and take them home. Caribou at the national park. This is a cute set here. These are only $25 a piece when you add them all up. This is Taku Glacier and the Bay at Sunset in Ketchikan, and there's the set of 3. So really, really fun, beautiful pieces. And then this one, which is a yard long, and this one is by Ives. Where porcelain plates are concerned, you really want to look at the fineness of the detail as well as the maker. The one on the right is a Royal Vienna from Austria from sometime around 1890 with the wings. That's really unusual. She's priced at about $1,400. This very regal person here, that's a beautiful piece with the great headdress. Just gorgeous with all the enameling and everything. And then this piece is Coal Part out of England, also a very beautiful. She's pouring an amphora. And then this piece is very pretty as well. This one has the Cook & Company London mark. This is a mitten pâté sur pâté dish.
And anyway, that was the first.
From about 1870. And then here we have a wonderful Audubon print. I always like to look at Audubons because of being so close to Audubon Park when I'm in Kentucky. This one is actually a chromolith by J. Being, drawn from nature by Audubon, and it is the glossy ibis. And even the way they spell glossy is older. This is chromolith from 1860, priced at $2,000. Well, the fellow with the beer stuff is here again, and he's got one piece I know I haven't seen before, which is great. It's this one here, the original Pabst Blue Ribbon with the train. This shows you the kind of nostalgia people were having in 1960 for the 1890s or turn of the century, and it's priced at $145, which seems like a pretty good deal. It's because it's cardboard rather than glass or neon. $90 each on the bud sconces is a fair price. This place is popular because this is my friend Tom, and hello there, and his wife, and they are doing $10 3 for $20 today. They are really smart. They go into estates, they clear out all sorts of stuff, and then they blow it out, and it is fun, and they get some interesting things. I like this acrylic paperweight with the disassembled watch in the middle of it. Made in South Africa. That's something different. I think we'll put that in our pile. And I knew we would start a pile. I was afraid that these folks would be here because this could cost me some money. At this price, I have always had luck with these lineman phones. I realize you can't really hook them to anything, but it's more just the novelty of it, and they're interesting looking. And orange, because they're from the early 70s. They would have plugged these in up on the line to test the phones when they're doing repairs. For that price, I'll take it, because it's enough of a novelty it'll sell. And you notice they are very, very busy. If you price things well, people will flock to you. Some of these reels for $10, especially this one with the big colored handle, just because of the look, would be great for shelf sitters. A lot of these used to sell for $30 and $40. Lots of coffee tins. Some of these are pretty collectible. Old banks. And then there's this. It's sort of a variation on Robert Indiana's Love from the 70s, very 70s. And you know, that makes 3 for $20, which makes it $6.67. So we'll take that too. We all need a little bit more love. Well, they are starting to wrap for me, and I'm going to see what else I might need. These are fun because they're dice, and it is a mustard set in the middle, Japanese from the 30s. The dice are the salt and pepper shakers, and I will definitely be taking that set because anything with dice, anything gambling related, seems like it does well. Well, thanks to YouTube, we all have some friends from other places, including New Zealand. So here's some pictures of New Zealand, the Auckland Bridge, Marietta Dam. I'll have to have some help with pronunciations. Mount Egmont, Parliament Buildings, the coast, a Maori carver. Very sweet. I don't see Rotorua on there. Lulu, that is from Latin America. The Mickey pencil sharpener and the Donald Duck stapler in the cartons. Well, you know, I am getting ready for Florida, and these would probably sell at my next show, which is in Mount Dora. So these might have to go flying cross country with me. Well, let's see what else is in the bargain booth before we head on. This is another Israeli brass company, Dayagi. I like the design of that. I wish they were both there. This originally would have been a pair, I believe. Children's moccasins are cute, though, for this price. Looks like there's 2 pair. One of them is damaged and one is not, so we'll take the undamaged pair. Or are they both damaged? Oh yes, we're missing a lace, so nope. Too good to be true. A few good pieces in here. Anti-Schwarzenegger when he was governor. Renew in 72. Well, that sort of happened briefly. Nixon's the one that gained a little irony as time went on. Reagan for governor, so that's going to be in the 60s. Click with Dick. That's a good one because it's a clicker. This fellow, Elihu Root. He was the Secretary of War and the Secretary of State, and he had hoped to become the president. He didn't manage, but his pin might be interesting for that reason. Oh yes, the 80s when matching jumpsuits were the thing. Hillary for senator. I'm not sure she looked like that when she went for senator. Well, they've got a Star X bottle opener, which you see a lot, but this one says Canada Dry, and it is new in the original box, so for that price, I'll take it. The Filipino Twirler. I already have a few hockey pucks and a few yo-yos right now. Little shaving mirror there. I believe this little lifter is by Chase. Yes, there's Little Horseman. Chase Brass and Copper did a lot of these in the 1930s. That one's had a bit of use. Seattle First. I look for things that are no longer there, and that bank is definitely no longer there. Tape measures. There are definitely collectors for these. None of these look like they're particularly unusual or have amazing graphics. They're fun, though. New York City Empire State Building, wholesale cordage. Really looking for graphic interest. This one's probably cuter than the rest, but someone just hand-painted that. Letter openers galore. The Grit Printery of Wichita. This little one that looks like a cutlass is from Detroit. I like the little celluloid ones that are alligators, but that one's had his jaw broken, so we're going to leave him. Lots of razors. This looks like the estate that I'm supposed to be working on, that I'll be going to working on shortly here. And here we go, the Dion Quince. Everybody Helps. This is 1947, I believe. They are teenagers and things are changing for them. They were reunited with their parents about that time, for better and for worse. after years of being a spectacle at Quintland. I'm not really here to shop heavily, but I do have a bag full already. So I need one more item to have 9 so that I get the full discount. So do I get the cheerleader doll cutouts? The 1964 Peanuts calendar. Could get one of these high fashion hats. Let's see, this one says the Black Star hat. 1940 to 41. It is perfect, isn't it? Or maybe it should be this big Satsuma style vase. It's sure a lot of look for $10. But I see a little chip down there. Okay, well, if I'm going to get through here and really see some things and talk to some people, I'm going to have to get a little bit more of a jump on it here. These are nicely redone at $175 for the whole set. Only $250 each for some of the Fostoria pieces there. That's quite a bargain. Well, look at all the Halloween cutouts. Aren't those cute? Wow, have they got the stuff. Lots of cast iron, lots of lanterns. But this fellow's been doing this show for a long time, so I'm not surprised. I like the big cream and sugar here. You don't run into these all that often. They have a Gemco mark on the bottom, but they were definitely done to look like Crazy Daisy. Oh, those are really cool. I haven't seen the piano before. It's very Liberace looking, but she's got Ken up there, so that's good. Susie Goose Barbie piano music jewelry box, $80. I haven't seen that piece before. That is cool. And there's the bed to go with. So see, Barbie can live in style. And here we are in World's Fair City. Yeah, it'll be the 50th anniversary next year. I'm starting to put stuff away because I think people will start getting interested again. This is so neat. The monitor top clock. The monitor top refrigerators are collectible. The clocks and the salt and pepper shakers are too, if you can find them. He traded a necklace he got out of the Goodwill bins for this cash register.
I got here like 11 o'clock.
I bet it was much fuller. It looks like they've sold a lot, actually.
Over here, there was a big Magnavox stereo console. $99.
Wow.
And it worked. The record player worked.
Wow.
I had it on, and I was like, you know, those for the young kids, they love that stereo system.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's big and takes up a lot of room, that's one of those things where they
spare the real estate to get that that bass reflex sound.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been talking about blue Delphite, and look at these great pieces from the 30s. It is really cool, and it has that same mellow aspect that jadeite has, and yet it sells for less than jadeite. So if you like the blue, that's your bargain. Roseville had some design changes in the 1920s. This is Florentine 2, which is different from the first Florentine, a wonderful large umbrella jar for $400. Behind it is a hard-to-find pattern called Morning Glory. That's a really pretty Roseville pattern in the middle there that a lot of people haven't seen. And then Cherry Blossom on the sides there. The Morning Glory is $265. That's a harder piece to find. But Roseville nowadays, you can find pieces as little as $49, the little cornucopia there. So it's possible to start a Roseville collection and not pay through the nose, but you will eventually get into the really unusual pieces. This is Weller Marvo, a fun textured pattern from about 1920. This gal here gets kind of an interesting hodgepodge and is fun to shop. I'm going to take a look really quickly with her and also invite her to the sale because she likes lots of little stuff like we're going to have to sell. Only $5 on the McCoy White Happy Face. I think I need that.
And a division.
Oh, really?
Bird.
Canvas products all over everything.
Supposedly, what I was told, they supplied the tents after the Great Spokane Fire.
Oh, interesting. And that makes sense. They were here in 1883, and it says they're the only expert builders of circus, gospel, stable, and railroad contractors' tents west of the Missouri River. This is the Spokane newspaper, the Spokesman Review, and apparently there used to be the Daily Chronicle, and they are showing all of their old tear sheets and selling off some of these archived newspaper books for $25 to $50 a piece, and they're very fascinating. I mean, just the advertising. What year are you into there?
This is 32.
32. Wow, that's pretty cool. Salmon, 9 cents a can. Well, she looks really busy, but I especially wanted to show you this booth because my friend Corinne has it, and you might know her from being online. Well, she's got some customers, and I'm not surprised because she's got cool stuff, and she is also an artist of her own right. This is Downriver, painted based on her area in Idaho where she lives, and isn't that beautiful? She has really come a long way as a dealer. I think this is her third show here, and she's definitely picked up on the fact that jewelry is popular, and she has some neat pieces here. I especially like the, well, here's our little, we showed this in a previous video, our little streetwalker, but I like the vintage Christmas tree and the piece on the stock there. Nice little piece of micro mosaic I see in there. I might have to look at those up close. This is one of these Mexican Tonala folk art nativity sets, and it's $35 for the whole thing, which I think is a pretty good deal. You've got all of the figures and the baby Jesus and the crib. That is something different. Look at the graphics here. This is really cool.
Walk out so you could see it. It's
oh
in
my
really
gosh,
good
it's
condition.
just beautiful. And 49th state, yeah, so they must have known by then, because it was supposed to be 50th, and then Hawaii, they couldn't get it in order. Oh, that is really cool, and the condition is perfect. Is one of these the murder elf? No, I don't see the murder elf
I
in
don't
there.
have the
You
murder
don't have
one.
the murder elf,
I
no.
don't have home co. Put it in your home. I had way more people.
Yeah, see, they
And
know you
they-
now, and they know to come look for your stuff.
It's great.
It's so
just
exciting.
Great. It is. And,
Yes.
well, we had record, I think, people day for the last, I don't know how many years.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
That's fantastic.
Really,
I heard it
really
was
good.
just jammed in the morning, yes. Oh, you have some interesting stuff, though. I
You
was
gotta
looking at
see
this.
You gotta see this. You've always talked about the red. Look at how it turns
Wow,
magenta,
uh-huh.
and the details of the dragon show up.
Interesting. Even in the ceramic glaze, that is so different. It's so smart that you're actually putting that things on the tags, because so many things glow that people don't know.
Yeah, and I have
And they
so
don't
many
expect.
surprises. Check this out.
Oh, yes. Yes, it looks jade, but they actually have a little bit of that yellow-green in it. Oh, and you have a nice piece of white friars. I just bought a piece with Jocelyn, actually, the little bud base, and I couldn't remember the name of the company, so thank you for doing my research for
Oh,
me.
you're welcome.
That is so cool. I wanted to see that, actually.
And it does glow.
It's Italian. Oh, this is interesting, is that there's a label a little different than we're used to seeing. And she's going to show us how it glows. Ooh, yes. Wow, the orange glows really well. Yeah, I've noticed with the cadmium, it seems like the orange and the tips are where you really get the glow, isn't it?
Yeah, and this.
Oh,
one
the
lights up, too.
Fostoria heirloom, yes. I just sold
It is
the yellow
Fostoria.
ones. Corinne has gone from being a collector and a viewer to being a dealer. It's just amazing. I'm so pleased for you, and I'm glad you're
Thank
having
you.
fun. And you said it's been a good show.
It's been awesome.
Awesome.
It's been really
That's
good.
so great. Well, you're in my old space. Someday I will come back here and I'll get the space next to you on the other
About
side.
next spring, and we'll work
Spring
together.
sounds like
yeah.
a deal, yes. This is the one that came from the last estate sale, so see, you should show up at my estate sales. You never know what you might find. Well, this dealer has some interesting and different things. A lot of things that I sell well in Florida, actually. I wouldn't expect necessarily to see inland, but he's got some neat stuff. The ship's bell is $35. The shark, wow. That is a great old nameplate. Number 591, $50. I imagine that this was a United States Navy vessel with the 591 nomenclature. That is really something different. 8-day time and strike. The bell ship clock, $125 is a good price on that. And this barometer at $100. I just sold one for more than that. So I think their prices are definitely fair for what they've got. And it's interesting stuff we're not used to seeing here. They have 8 bronze portholes, and they were asking $1,000 for all of them, which means a little over $100 a piece, which again is not a bad price for a porthole these days. But they actually have a lot of cool stuff. The wagon wheel axle that's painted was for parades, and that's really neat. She's got a lot of brass. Let's take a look at brass together. Now, I personally like the hammered copper and the painted brass. I like the vintage brass giraffe because it's got a lot of detail and design, and the patina tells me that it's got some age. There are Japanese pieces with the pagoda from the late 1970s, early 80s, and then a lot of this will be made in India. But when you get into some of these solid brass pieces where it's not hollow, then you may be looking at greater age. Those are pretty handsome for the pair. The inkwell is going to be Art Nouveau from about 1910, and I like this display because she's mixing brass from a lot of different decades and a lot of different parts of the world together. It's not all just things that came off of Pure One in the 1970s, so it gives you an idea that brass has been around a long time, and there's a lot of really great vintage pieces with great detail, like this cool horse candlestick here. And then there's some more recent pieces with a little less detail. Isn't that cute? The owl chalkware is a notepad by Miller Studio, and this is from 1970. $18. $40 on the set of glasses here, and of course the big surprise with these decals is when you look in the back and oops, they're having a wardrobe malfunction. Well, $40 for 6 of these is actually a pretty good price, and if the decals are all in good shape. Now she's got a few holes in her, and that starts to be a problem. Yeah, I'm afraid we're not going to have a sale. She's missing part of her leg. The decals were applied to the surface, and they do wear off, so you have to be very careful about condition. I like this little table. I was talking recently about a company called Tudor Potteries. I have a tea set for sale on eBay from them right now, and they made a lot of the tiles. Well, these tiles are a little looser and a little less precise, and that means they were probably done in Mexico around 1930, but $50 for a tile table from that era is really a good deal anyway, and I think I'm taking that with me. Treasure Craft apple, and we're in apple country in eastern Washington. There's a great old apple orchard near here that has all the old legacy types of apples you never taste anymore. This is Freeman McFarland Originals, another California pottery with the cream and sugar. The classic smiley face pin from the 70s with the dangle rhinestones. I don't see a price on that, but there is a price of $15 on this very odd wiry Flower Power 70s pin. Those definitely look like they came from the same era. I have a lot of fun clocks, and these folks are good about their prices, and they make deals. I'm tempted to maybe amass a pile here. $18 on the Baby Ben. I had one of those in my room for many years. The ticking becomes very soothing after just a few days. You get used to it really fast. This is one of those travel clocks where this part covers up. It's like a tambour front so that it covers up the clock. When you're traveling, you fold it down into one neat little package like that. Now this is pretty awesome, where you just pull up your glamper and set up shop. And yes, they pulled it into this fairgrounds building, and here they are, and more inside. I just love this whole concept. So let's go in and see what this place is like. I think I want the trailer more than anything, although she's awfully cute in the blow mold. They had a lot of fun putting in the squiggly formica. There's some of the 50s era screen prints that I like. A couple of really neat Hawaiian airbrush pieces from the 40s. These are Hale Pua, and they actually have 2 different kinds of signatures. Sometimes you see them in a cursive signature, and sometimes it's just printed. I have always really liked the Master Crafters clocks. They were so much fun. These have the kids swinging. It's one you see more frequently, but it's only $60, which in working order is a good price for that. I recently sold a 1984 Hummel, but she's amazing because this is early. This is the Crown Markets where she's giving the flowers to the child, and you see it's US zone Germany. So this is a very early piece, a hard to find piece, and that's why it's priced at $250. And yes, some Hummels do still sell for big money. The butterfly is a crazy piece by Bruce Morrison. I've seen other Morrison figures. He is collectible. And it says this was on their homepage for a long time. This is Transition, where the woman is turning into a butterfly through chrysalis, I guess. Priced at $550. This is a really cool penny machine here, the Target. And you would shoot at those various numbers, and then you would win various prizes. That was before they could actually pay you outright for gambling. Outboard trolling motor is really great. 1938, all restored. And the Buster Brown display, I think it's really cool. He's got the big Smith overalls. He's priced at $450. Well, these are half off, and they are Francoma Christmas cards. 1970s era. I just sold the butterfly from 1974. And then these are a little bit earlier. These are 1968, before they did them all in the bone white. A Prayer for Peace. And the dealer plaque. Those are always good to have. They also have a rather hard to find piece here, the Charger. It's just a single bookend. I had these in green once and sold them for $225 for the pair. My friend Richard has a wonderful booth with so much great stuff. I wish I could stop and really show you in depth. He just has such amazing things, but I will show you one thing that's sitting right over here, because we're getting close to Christmas, and here is the entire history of Christmas seals from 1908 to 1930. The whole idea was that the Red Cross would sponsor it initially. There's 1908, and that was designed by Howard Pyle. all of these stamps were designed with a different designer, and this tells all about it. It's a really interesting area of collecting, actually, and this was all supposed to help handicapped children, was it not?
Yeah, the first year was actually '07. Actually.
'07 was the first year. So they didn't get the first one in this. Interesting. Well, I'm never going to get out of here because then I saw this Salvador Dali print, and he is a favorite of mine. This one is 1963. It's got the pencil mark, and it says Gravure de Artiste, meaning that it's an artist proof. That is a fantastic piece.
It really needs to go to a gallery to have a certificate made for it.
Oh yeah, have a COA done, yes, but it clearly is the original, and it's this is Place de la Concorde, and you're asking how much on it?
I think I've had
3,500.
Yeah.
What a wonderful piece. I see a lot of his work from this era. I don't see this piece. It's not one of the ones that was really distributed widely at the World's Fair and that sort of stuff. It's a great piece. Pink and blue. Looking at the graphics, I would say 1930s definitely, and the reason I say that is I've seen the bottom here. This is the American family scale. It's just with the baby platform. Yeah. So it's the usual scale we see, but I think 1930s because of this stylization of the W.
Gotcha.
You see that a lot in that time for some reason, so that would be my clue as to age.
Okay.
Cute.
Yeah, there was a little bit of conflict about
who was
30s, 40s,
30s, 40s, 50s. Yeah, because those colors stayed. I mean, pink and blue always stay with kids, and it's entirely possible they made the same thing for 20 years back then.
Yeah.
But it definitely looks like it came out in the 30s.
There's a couple different variations of it too.
It's cool. This is such a great show, and all I want to do is keep shopping it. And it's a little weird feeling being here and not selling here. But I really have to go get this estate house ready, and so that is going to be the next thing on the agenda. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video, and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help, and we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.